Alright. So I might have some issues. So found another car. And I've always wanted a car with fins. I found a car with fins that just so happens to be a 59 Bel Air. A 59 Bel Air with an X-frame. So very similar platform to what my Bel Air, my 63 was on, only this one has a little bit more body style to it. Got the big bubble top style roof on it, but it does have a post. The actual bubble tops have no post in the middle, just all clear. This one's got a post in the middle of it, but still absolutely awesome. Patina on point. And what are we going to do with this one? Well, I don't even know yet. I kind of do. There we go. Now we're getting some tilting action. Apparently the truck wiring is messed up, and the trailer tilt air compressor is not working right, because it's not getting charged. So I'm going to get this thing on hold, hopefully. Do with this baby. She wants to go down the road. Well, it's still got a motor, transmission, small block Chevy 327. Does it run? I don't know. We'll see if we can't get it running anyways. Do we want it? No. We're going to get rid of that motor. We're going to get rid of the tranny. We're going to get rid of the radiator. We're going to get rid of the seats. We are going to get rid of the heater box, the wiper motor, all kinds of stuff on this thing is going out the window. We're not going to use it. We are going to make something a little more spectacular. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make something badass with this thing. Can we make it to drag weekend in a few weeks? Well, I don't know. Let's push it and find out and see if we can do this. Let's cut it up. It's like what any real man would do to a car. Cut it up. Don't restore it. Just make it. Oh yeah, right there, piece of American history. This is a 59 Chevy Bel Air. Absolute, one of the top back in the day. You got an absolutely beautiful patinaed original survivor. Never been in any major wrecks. No bondo, zero bodywork ever done to it. Solid for a 59. And I have all the chrome trim for it, all of it, which is the absolute biggest thing in the world on these cars. When all the trim is gone, it's almost impossible to find. I have all the trim for it, and all the parts and pieces to put it all back together again. What are we going to do with it? Restore it to original? Nope, you know that ain't my jam. We're going to cut the F out of it and make something really cool. That's what we're going to do with it. 59 Bel Air. Absolutely monumental, iconic car back in the day. We got the fins, we got the X-frame, and we got style. What are we going to do with it? Let's cut it up. Let's build something badass. Hey, guess what we got? Another car. Probably something that we really need to do around here is get something else to do. This is what is it? You should be able to tell by looking at this dash in here. This is one of the coolest damn dashes that I've ever seen in any car. I absolutely love the look of these dashes, and they would have been in a Biscayne, Bel Air, or Impala. And these have idiot lights in them right here. This has got a gauge in it, gauge blanked off. If it was an Impala or an SS car, those would all be gauges in there, no idiot lights at all. But super cool. It's even got the factory AM radio right here. And so somebody had tried to get this thing running by janky ignition switch of some sort, and then started it on fire. You can see how melty the wire is right here, so obviously they didn't do something right, and it was a straight short to ground and melted a bunch of wires. So that's when I came in to say, I'll buy it from you, I can get that running. So guess what, we ended up with another big bodied car, and this is what they call an X-frame car. So 58 to 64 is an X-frame car, and the frame, we'll show you a little picture of that later. The frame narrows down to the inside is only this wide, and then it wides back out, and it wides back out this way. So looking at the frame standing up, it's a giant X. And this is the same frame that my Bel Air that I crashed had also, and it's one of the worst engineering design flaws in the world ever in automotive engineering. It's an absolutely horrible design, horrible thing, because why? Look at when it gets some rust on it like this, and which is kind of funny. This car has got some, this is very typical rust spots right here, because it's the lowest point, and if there's carpet in it, and once the weather strippings get worn out on the windows and stuff, water just sits there until it rots the sheet metal. But now think about that. If the rockers are all rusty and the floors are rusty like that, and there's only a frame in the middle of the car, what happens if it gets hit on any corner of the car? The crumple zone is right here and right there. So it doesn't matter where this car gets hit, it folds up right in the middle of the car. And this is one of the reasons why crumple zones were invented, honestly, is because of this body style car. It's just a lot of people died in these things, and you think it's a big giant boat of a car and a lot of steel, but it's not structural in the right places. And I can honestly say that I am the only reason why I am here today from the crash that I had is I realized that was a horrible idea from the factory, and I put a perimeter frame, that I took the factory frame and I added a perimeter frame in here and strengthened that up, so when I got in that impact it didn't fold the rest of the car up. But this is another reason why I'm alive also, is I got rid of this factory steering column and I put a double U-joint shafted column in it, so when that impacted in the front, it pushed the steering wheel out a little bit. But if you watch a YouTube video on Impala versus Impala crash, there's one of these that's a 59 versus a newer Impala head-on crash, and this steering column is one piece going all the way to the steering box, and it shoves it all the way through, decapitates the dummy, and hits the wheel hits the roof so hard, and the whole car buckles right in half. But there's ways to fix it, and there's ways, but check that out. Look at that. This is a 1959 right here. It shuts like glass, like just smooth as silk. And I got all the windows to roll up and stuff in it now, and up and down. And so it might need a little bit of work here, but all the mechanical parts of it it's operational now. Got our wing windows on the side. The wing windows open up. That's so cool. And if you had a car with wing windows, you do this and it just blows that and it just comes right into the car. It's such an awesome thing with these cars. Look at the style and the shape of these body lines that are on this car. It's just one of the coolest cars. Look at this windshield and the shape of it and all this trim. That's just absolutely awesome. It makes this thing just such an iconic car, and to find one that's in this nice a shape. And what was my intent on buying the car? Well, I got an addiction to drag weekend. A friend of mine at one guy's garage does a drag weekend that we've been on every year for probably 8 or 10 years now, and I wanted to get something that I could put together with the parts out of my Bel Air that are still sitting in the backyard, and put them in something that I could just bolt in and build a twin turbo setup on it similar. That was my intent when I bought the car, and I bought it. The motor was, the guy didn't know if it was even locked up, if it ran, if it worked. He didn't know anything about it, and everything was all in boxes and pieces. So we just today, me and my friend Ben, redid all the headlight buckets right here. All the adjusters were broken and gone, and got all the adjusters were in the box, and the headlights were in there, everything. So now we got some headlights, and it looks like a car again now too. Without that, it really looked pretty bad. So now we're getting all our trim pieces cleaned up. We also found out that the gas that is in it is, oh my God, is it terrible. It is absolutely the worst smelling stuff ever. It's just tarnishy. Oh, it's got registration plates that it from 2017. So what is that? 7 years old at least. The gas probably is, and it just reeks to high heaven. So we took the tank off of the engine run stand. This is what's so awesome simple about it, and the guy didn't know whether he'd get it to run. So this is how easy it is for these old motors. Okay, you bring a little gas tank here, disconnect the fuel pump, and put a gas line right in here. You got to plug this off, but in our case we don't have to plug it off because the fuel pump does not work whatsoever. and it doesn't pump any fuel, period. And so I don't even know if the line is hooked up, it goes to the tank or what, but I gotta do a little investigating there. But we put a fuel tank up here. We put one jumper wire going to the coil pack, which makes the coil go hot, and a screwdriver across to the starter, and boom, it fired right up, and it ran great actually, until the starter didn't work again. So our starter solenoid is not coming out, so I don't know if it's just gummed up in here, it's just been sitting for so long, so it looks pretty darn new and everything as well. They're usually covered in goopy drippings of grease and oil and dirt and everything. But we just put another starter in it an hour or two ago, and that one is not engaging as well. So that's got to come out. It needs a new fuel pump for sure, and or the fuel line is disconnected going to the back, one of the above. But it actually steers and stops also, so we got to do a little investigating on it, the brakes and stuff, but everything appears to be working right now. So we're going to just do whatever it takes to try to get this thing running, driving, headlights, marker lights, signal lights all working, and then do another reassessment to figure out whether I want to cut this up and make something awesome out of it and badass, or I might just sell this just by a little more cleaning up, some detailing on it, and then I really want to build another 63, because that's what mine was. As much as I'd love to put all this into this car, I'm not sure what we're gonna do with it yet, honestly, but it's such a cool car. It's got these big bat wing fins on it. I love fin cars, and you'll look at like this, and look at how cool that trunk is right there. Like, and I feel like they missed out of an opportunity here, which I feel like we need to resurrect. That is, I think we need to put a red lens in here and a light behind here and turn that into a third brake light, I think, right there. I think that'd be badass myself. But look at the detail into this, and this chrome trim is just, and the super cool part of this car is it had all the trim. This trim right here and this trim right here is almost impossible to find. And if you do find it, it's all dinged up. If it's nice, you're gonna have to refinance your house to be able to afford that trim, because it's that rare to find the trim on this. And all of the trim is in really nice shape. And I probably shouldn't say this, but it doesn't even have hail damage like every other thing that I own does now. I'm sure Mother Nature's probably going to be here in no time trying to pound this one to pieces like everything else around here, but for right now, it's in really nice shape. So all the trim on the side is just, and there's the different trim packages with the same car. You had your Biscayne, which is your lower base model, that didn't have this trim on the side. It would come with rubber floor mats. A lot of times no radio and everything too, just your basic run-of-the-mill. Most of them were 6 cylinders, 3 on the tree, manual cars. As cheap as you could get a car would have been your Biscayne. The Bel Air in 1957 was the top of the line package that you could get, and that was their deluxe model. Well, in 58 they came out with the Impala, and that had quite a bit more trim on it, quite a bit more bling on it, way more detailed. So the Bel Air, which is this, is the middle of the road trim package now in 1959. Their top of the line goes to the Impala, which would have had different trim on it as well. So all the trim would be different to all 3 of the versions, and the Bel Air being the middle of the road one,
The Impala would have had different trim on the side. It would have had your full gauges and no idiot lights in there, and some things like that they changed for the different packages and stuff then. But the bodies were the same body, but the holes for the trim and stuff are in different spots for a Bel Air, a Biscayne, and an Impala. So that's how this all lays together. We're gonna get this thing running and driving, and we'll take it for a test drive on it, and then we'll see what we're gonna do with this thing. It came from a very, very dry environment. It was full of dust and dirt. I'm not even joking. That's all been cleaned off over there in the drive. There's at least 50 pounds of dirt and rust and muck that all came out of this car. At least, but the only parts that are rusty on it, even the rockers are super solid and everything. Very prone to rusting on these cars. This right down here is rotted out, and this is rotted out right here because there was a mouse nest that was all packed full of the seat material, was all packed in down here, and then that was all mouse pee and corrosive and water soaking up into all that wet sponge seat material, which is very typical in these older cars. Mice get in it, they make nests in it, and as soon as they do, they just start to rot everything out that way because it's so corrosive. But they do make patch panels for this, so I could get a patch panel for this right here, another one there, or we could make it, and this could be a super solid but super rare. Think of that, people. This is a 65-year-old car, and 65 years old. It's been in 0 big collisions. It's got some battle scars to it, some scrapes, some dents and everything to it, but it has 0 Bondo on it anywhere. Like, it's never been in a major accident. There's never been a quarter panel put on it, or a fender, or a door, and all the glass is original glass too. It's got the safety plate glass number, everything right on the corner here. This is all original glass in it, and original trim. This is as non-molested as you can come across, and just to have some really simple floor pan patches to go in there, and that's good to go. So I'm going to start to look for all new glass for it and all the rubber, so we can get this thing weather tight anyway, so it can be out here without getting wet inside of the car. Right now all the rubber is just completely gone, and it's just breaking off in little chunk crystal pieces, so it's not going to hold the water out and everything, obviously. So we got some wiring to do to it. We got some gas tank flushing to do. We have some fuel lines to run, and hopefully, with any luck, we're going to drive this thing to North St. Paul Friday night. Yep, that's right, Friday night. That's 2 days from now. Let's do it. Build something badass. Don't forget to like this video. Click like, throw me a comment, let me know what you think. Ring the bell for those notifications when we get a new video. We got lots more coming up, guys. A lot of cool stuff coming up. I hope you guys are enjoying the ride.